Is life real, or are we living inside a program like a matrix? A perplexing question indeed. This query, as mind-bending as it may seem, is the crux of a concept known as the simulation hypothesis. It's a fascinating thought experiment that's been deeply explored by philosophers and scientists alike, stirring up debates about the very nature of reality and existence. So where does this idea come from? The simulation hypothesis is a modern-day spin on age-old philosophical skepticism. It's an intellectual lineage that can be traced back to René Descartes, the philosopher who famously declared, Cogito, ergo sum, or I think, therefore I am. Descartes questioned the reliability of our senses, asserting that our capacity to doubt is the only undeniable proof of our existence. Then there's Solipsism, another philosophical perspective that pushes the boundaries of our understanding of reality. Solipsists argue that only one's own mind is sure to exist. In other words, the only thing we can be certain of is our own consciousness, and everything outside of it is a matter of conjecture. Phenomenology takes this idea a step further, suggesting that reality is not an objective truth but a construct of our experiences and consciousness. It's a perspective that blurs the line between the observer and the observed, between the mind and the world outside it. These philosophical perspectives provide a backdrop to the simulation hypothesis, challenging our conventional understanding of reality. They make us question, are we truly experiencing the world as it is, or are we merely processing a series of elaborate codes and algorithms, much like the characters in a video game? If this makes your brain tick, hold on tight, because we aren't done just yet. But what does science say about this? Can it provide answers to whether we are living in a real or simulated world? In the scientific community, there are two primary viewpoints on this matter. The first is the simulation hypothesis, a concept suggesting that our reality could be an artificial simulation. Think of it as a super sophisticated computer program designed by a highly advanced civilization. The philosopher Nick Bostrom argues that if such simulations are possible, statistically, it's more likely we're living in a simulation than not. The second view is physicalism. This perspective holds that everything that exists is no more extensive than its physical properties. In other words, the world is entirely physical and real. Many scientists and philosophers subscribe to this viewpoint, asserting that our existence is grounded in tangible, observable reality. So how can we determine whether we live in a real world or a simulated one? It's a tricky question, as it requires stepping outside our own experiences and perceptions, a feat not currently possible. But there are a few ways this question has been approached. One method is through empirical tests. Some scientists propose that if we were living in a simulation, there might be glitches or inconsistencies that we could detect. So far, however, no such empirical evidence has been found. Another approach is considering computational limits. Some researchers argue that simulating an entire universe in full detail would require more computational power than is feasible, even for a highly advanced civilization. If this is true, it could be an argument against the simulation hypothesis. Through these scientific views and potential methods of inquiry, we inch closer to understanding our reality. But remember, this is a complex and ongoing discussion that continues to evolve with our expanding knowledge. As we explore the boundaries of our understanding, we find that the question, is life real, is more complex than it appears. Whether we live in a real world or a simulated one, the journey of exploring these possibilities is fascinating in itself.